joining me today. And what I wanted to talk to you today about was your donut strategy. Uh, so when I got started in carpet cleaning, um, and I bought my Rotovac, and I really had no idea how I was going to get clients to begin with. I talked to the people at Rotovac, and one of the guys' suggestion was, "Hey, why don't you go around and hand out, bring like donuts or cookies or just treats with a stack of business cards and take them around town to realtors, um, carpet stores, places like that." And I did it a little bit, and I got a little bit of response, but I didn't stick with it like I should have. And I know a lot of guys know about this strategy. It's not like a big secret, complicated strategy, um, but Bill, when I was talking to you, what was it, a few weeks ago, you were telling me that that's one of your main sources of clients, right?
Yeah, new customers. Yeah, it is probably our main marketing that we've been doing for. I think it's going on about 3 years now.
Okay, so that's your main That's your main marketing channel then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. And so, can you tell me a little bit about your business? You're in a mid-sized town in Pennsylvania, correct?
Yeah, we're in a northeast Pennsylvania. It is a lot of little towns. It's a very spread out area. We cover about a 5 county area. Some of it encompasses the Pocono Mountains, so we have some vacation type of resort type area, as well as some other. The largest city is maybe 80, 90,000 in population, so we're not a real dense population area. It's spread out.
Okay. And you've got a rug plant as well as a truck mount unit, and then you have a helper with you as far as the cleaning goes, right?
Yeah, I have a helper, and then we have an office person as well.
Okay. And would you consider yourself? You're not a big coupon guy. You do more high end type of cleanings. Am I right?
Yeah, yeah. We decided, 21 years ago, I started with a franchise, and we were really low ball pricing, and then after about 4 years of that, I got tired of that, and so we left and became independent. I think it was in '97, and so from that point on, we decided we were going to target higher quality clients. We were going to be more high end, and from there, we began to just immediately raise our prices, and we've continued to do so. We're probably one of the highest priced carpet cleaners in this area.
Okay. Yeah, that's similar to what I did when I started. I started out doing the 3 rooms for $79, and after a while, I realized, after I started really looking into my expenses, I realized, you know what, I'm only making $10, $20 on some of these jobs, and so yeah, I've done both. I've done the high end and the coupon stuff, and so, but what we really want to get into today is, this donut strategy sounds kind of cool and everything, but until you realize how powerful it is and how much money you can actually make with it, it's kind of one of those things that guys are like, yeah, I might get around to it someday. So I guess the point of this whole interview is to kind of show that this is actually a big deal. And you said you brought some numbers. You got some numbers as far as how much you can actually make.
Yes, I do have some numbers that I pulled off this morning. These are. I mean, we do a lot of referral business. I would say most of our new customer business that comes in is from referrals. Now, not all of it is from the referral sources, but most of it is from our referral sources, and which is what we call the donut route, or specific route that we do. We also have some that come from clients, and even some other sources that we've never dropped donuts off to. We've actually had some come from competitors, but these numbers here are specifically from our referral sources. These are basically all the carpet stores in this area. There's a couple of one particularly high-end rug store, and then realtors. So there's about somewhere between 30 and 40. The number changes, as we add. And this next year, we're going to be adding on a whole bunch more as we add on some other areas that we're not. But just to give you an idea, I just pulled the numbers off from the sales numbers, particularly these ones that we did last year, and we've are up to the date actually. $29,380.62 is what we've done specifically from our carpet stores and realtors, the ones that are on the donut route. That's 81 jobs.
Wow. So you're saying, and that's from this year alone, right?
That's just from this year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So from this year alone, you brought in at least $29,000 specifically from the donut strategy. Am I hearing you right?
Yes.
Okay. Because that's a big deal. I mean, 30 grand basically.
Yeah.
And I know that it didn't just happen overnight. This isn't something you just jumped into and all of a sudden you're making an extra 30 grand a year. Could you tell me a little bit about how you started with this? How long ago did you start, and what you actually did when you first started?
Well, every year, and particularly it comes around this time of year, your year is winding down, and you're looking at next year, and you're looking at what can I do to increase business and do. And so probably it was a good couple of years ago, anyway, going on maybe 3 years ago. That's what I was doing. I was kind of just reflecting on what I can do, and began to read out some things. And I read a story about this gentleman out in California that was doing something particular like this, and was having some good success with it. And so I actually called him and talked to him about it. He was very, very generous and gave me some specifics. And he was actually going out once a week, and he does a huge number. I think he does 300, run on 300 dozen donuts a week or something like that. It's a huge number.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he has a 10 truck operation, so it's amazing. And I got some specifics, and I started doing it that way. We had about 10 or 15 that we had, picked out that we were doing. We were actually in the beginning started doing it on a weekly basis, and what we found was it seemed to be that was kind of much, And I thought, well, maybe I can get the same kind of results doing it on a monthly basis, and actually take the same budget and actually spread it out and reach more referral sources. So that's what I did, and you can tweak this any way you want. I mean,
right.
Whatever works in your situation. But what I decided to do, I think if they see us once a month, and we bring in a box of donuts and some cards, and but I have, it did take a little while. I mean, it probably took 4 to 6 months before we started seeing some work coming from it. I mean, a specific amount, a good amount of work,
Yeah.
So it's not something that's going to just be this windfall. Now, some guys, including the gentleman in California, he did, receive some results from it right away. So it just depends on, some guys may have faster results. I'm not sure, but.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So basically, when you get started, it'd be a good idea to pick, let's say, 10 businesses. I mean, I think that's a good, nice, easy number to deal with. Pick 10 different businesses or 10 different sources you're going to give donuts to. And then pick a day of the month, whether it's the 1st or 5th or whatever. Pick a day of the month and then stick with it for 4 to 6 months before you decide if it works or not, right?
Yeah, the key to that whole thing is consistency. If they're seeing you every month, then what you're basically saying to them is that you're consistent. That you're and that's the way that you run your business. And so that speaks volumes to some of these guys. And so and they begin to have some rapport with them, and offer to do a little job for them, offer to do their store. Particularly carpet stores. And if you're wondering what 10 to pick the ones that are going to be the hottest referral sources for a carpet cleaner. That's carpet store.
Okay.
And get into the carpet stores, and don't be afraid if somebody else is already in there. Just go at them anyway, because if they have another carpet somebody that they're referring, chances are they're not dropping donuts off every week.
Right. Yeah. Or they're probably not even making contact with them on a monthly basis.
Exactly.
And they're not And I never thought about that. How showing up every month is actually going to show them that that you run your business in a consistent way. Which, a lot of carpet cleaners um, don't return phone calls. They don't show up on time. That kind of stuff. So yeah, you're kind of planting a seed in their mind that, hey, you're different than everybody else out there.
Exactly.
And that's probably one reason you're able to charge higher prices as well, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. It's true. Yeah, and then if you do something for one of them, if you do their store, or if you do offer to do something for nothing for them, that begins to build your reputation, and you'll see now that once you get a referral from one of them and you do the job, and they'll start getting feedback from some of these clients. You'll see then you're building confidence with them, and you'll see the jobs will start rolling in from that point too.
Wow. Nice. And once again, $29,000 last year, everybody. That's by handing out donuts. Now, I think so the easy part is basically going to the donut shop, grabbing a dozen donuts, which is what you do, right? A dozen donuts for each location?
We do, yes.
Okay.
We found a bakery that makes assorted donut in there. They do a very good job. And so, we were using Krispy Kreme, which, in our area, they were giving me the best deal. They had about $4, a little bit more than $4 a dozen. So, if you have Krispy Kreme in your area or something, you just go and tell them what you're doing. Say, this is what we're doing, and we'd like to do this every month. And, I buy 30 to 40 dozen donuts a month from them. So sometimes they'll give you a pretty good deal.
Okay.
And offer, especially if it's an independent place too, they may give you a discount if you say, look, put your label on the box, because 40 dozen of your donuts is going out every month to businesses and stuff. So that's a great way for marketing for them as well.
Yeah, you'll be doing some advertising for them as well. Yeah, I didn't think about that. So I think once you get the donuts and you're getting your truck and you're going to go actually do this, the hardest part I think for most guys is, okay, what am I going to say when I walk in the door? I have no idea what I'm going to say. Are these people going to look at me like I'm crazy, or that kind of stuff goes through their heads. I know that because that's what was going through my head when I used to kind of do this a little bit. So, what kind of advice can you give to guys? What should they say? How should they mentally prepare themselves when they walk into a carpet store, for example, for the first time?
Yeah, and that's a good question, and that's one that I actually had myself. And then I'm going to say too is that you need to do it yourself first before you think about having someone else. Now, right now, my secretary, our CSR person, does it, and she loves doing it.
Okay.
Yeah, and so first off, don't be afraid of it, because you're coming in with something in your hand. You're giving them something before you're asking for anything, and you're not really asking them for anything. Don't go in, saying, I'd really like to get some jobs from you. Just don't have any pretense that way. Just go in with a box of donuts and just say, hey, this, I just go in and say, I'm Bill Mountain from Bill Mountain's Thorough Clean. We do carpets and rugs and upholstery cleaning, and I'd just like to drop this off to you today and appreciate any referrals. If there's anything we can do for you, let us know. Just like a warm greeting like that, and that's all we do. It's very simple.
And do you ask if you can talk to the owner or the decision? Do you try to get to the decision maker, or just whoever's there at the time?
Whoever's usually there. Now, there are times when the owner happens to be there, but sometimes they're hiding in the back. But usually I just whatever salesperson is there. Salesperson people are your key people. There are times where I don't see the owner. I've got a carpet one store that we do work for, and I hardly ever. The owner is actually not a very nice person, but the salespeople are wonderful people, and they're the ones that are on the front lines, and they're the ones that you want to really build a rapport, a relationship with.
Because they're the ones that are going to be talking to the clients anyway,
absolutely.
and handing out your cards. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
So you find basically that the salesperson in the carpet store gets that question once in a while. Hey, who do you recommend I have clean my carpet?
Yep.
And then when you hand them those donuts, you're also handing them what, a stack of 20 cards, something like that?
Yeah. You could use business cards. Business cards is good. We started out. We had some big postcards, which I didn't bring up. we've used different things, flyers. The gentleman in California, I think he was using some labels he just stuck to the boxes of donuts. Lately, what we've been doing is, if you can see these $25 gift cards, these plastic gift cards, you can have them printed up pretty reasonable, and they're like a size of a business card. I think you can get 1,000 of these plastic gift cards from 4-Color Print for like, I think it was $125 for 1,000 of them. I mean, it's pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
But you want to give them something. They just want to be able to have something they can hand to the customer when they ask. A lot of customers will call them though too. A lot of customers will call and say, I purchased my carpet from you a couple years ago. Who do you recommend? You just want to be, in the top of their mind. You just want to be there.
Right.
So say, oh yeah, get this person right here. Here
right.
you go.
So the secret isn't some kind of slick sales pitch. It's not having special, discount cards, this and that. It's
Right.
about the consistency and basically just that getting out there and doing it every single month.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
So let's get back to the numbers there. So 29,000 in 1 year. You're basically, if you're spending $4 a dozen, and you do 40 of these, you hit 40 different referral sources every month. You're looking at about $160 in upfront investment, and then how much time do you think is spent? You spend probably the better part of a day, once a month, doing this.
Well, not quite a day. She goes out. We kind of split it. We kind of split the route up a little bit. So she's going out. Well, right now we have it as every 2 weeks. Twice a month she's doing it. So
Okay.
she's getting half of them. So she's probably spending a good half a day. So probably I guess altogether probably a day.
Okay.
And,
So if I was just going to put these numbers together, let's see. So I've got $160 as far as the money investment, and then about, let's say, if you're doing as many as you are, which is 40, which most guys are not going to do that. They'll probably start out with 10. I mean, for 8 hours at 160, let's take 29,000 divided by 12. So you're making about you're spending $160 and you're making about $2,500 roughly.
yeah.
That's a pretty good return on investment, I'd say.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know any kind of advertising that can get anywhere close to that.
Yeah,
And I've tried
and
it all.
this is it's gonna snowball. It's gonna keep rolling, I believe. And as your reputation, you want to do a good job. You want to make sure that you follow up with your customers anyway. But yeah, I think it's and as you build your reputation, the carpet stores are really going to be confident in referring you, and I think it'll just continue to grow.
Nice. And so you were saying, so carpet stores are obviously the best one. What other kind of places do you take donuts to?
We do a lot of realtors.
Okay.
Yeah, and so realtors are a little bit harder nut, but if, again, you have to be consistent. And I love realtor jobs because they're usually empty, and they're just a nice. And the people have just spent $200,000 on their house, so another $100 or $1,000 or whatever to spend isn't that big of a deal,
Yeah.
So and they want to have it nice and clean, and it's so they're nice jobs.
Nice. Yeah, I remember when I started, I think I probably only went there 3 times to a realtor's office here in Missoula, and they had about, I don't know, 10 realtors in the office. One of the realtors also was running a property management on the side, and over the course of the next year or two, she probably gave me 20 jobs.
Wow.
So yeah, so and it was just a that one time that I happened to be there when she needed a carpet cleaner, and I had a plate of cookies or Rice Krispie treats or whatever I had at the time, sealed that many jobs. And like I said, I wasn't consistent with it because I got busy doing other marketing things. But I can see how it would have snowballed. It would have actually grown. Because I mean, how many times? It's all about just getting in there at the perfect time when somebody really needs it, and them seeing you repeatedly with and then the consistency factor, of course, that you're talking about. So, Bill, this is good stuff, man. I mean, it's really easier than most people think it is, and I didn't realize that you could actually make that much money with it. I mean, there's some people that only make $29,000 total all year. Guys just getting started, typically. Um, but so those guys could easily double their income or double their revenue by simply adding this strategy to their business. I mean, does that sound right?
Yeah, our business has doubled since 2008, and this is one of the main reasons why this strategy here, I think, is one of the main, because this is really the only thing that I've been consistently doing as far as marketing, other than yourself with the website, doing our website, and in that. But yeah, this is I think one of the main reasons why we've doubled. And you get referrals from the people that you get from so again, it snowballs, it continues to grow. And if you can't, if you just say, well, donuts, you don't have to do, I mean, you could go on and get a pack of cookies, you can, whatever, just, you can be creative that way.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to necessarily be, donuts was just an easy thing for us. You'll get people who complain. You'll get say, John, what are you bringing me them stinking donuts for? They're going to make me fat. But then if you skip a month, they're wondering where you're at. So,
yeah. Bring a bag of carrots to them next time and see what they say. Right? Well, very good, very good. Do you have any? Is there anything else you like? Any other kind of little tips or little pieces of advice you'd like to hand out to people at this point, or is this pretty much it? It sounds pretty simple.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty simple, and I'm a person that likes simplicity. I like things that are easy and not complicated, and it's not going to be because if it's complicated and hard, I won't do it. And I won't do it on a consistent basis. So it's just I this year we may go deeper with some of these stores. We're going to try to build more of a relationship with them and do some maybe joint marketing, but for the overall, I think it's a really good strategy, and I hope guys will take a hold of it and have a good, successful year.
Awesome, Bill. I really appreciate your time, and good luck in the new year coming up. I know you're going to do well. I know you're planning on adding a new truck and growing your business, and it's cool because the donut strategy is actually scalable. It sounds like why not do if you're doing 40, why not do 80, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
That's right.
Well, good deal, Bill. I will talk to you soon. I appreciate it.
Thanks,
Okay.
Joe.